Hello. Hopefully by now you have a firm understanding, or a somewhat firm understanding, of what a ratio and a proportion is, and how they relate to each other, and how to check whether two ratios are proportional to each other. In this video, we will be tying this concept with the idea of having a variable in which you have to solve for to make two ratios proportional. So, let's look at an example. If given or confirmed that two ratios are proportional, we can use this proportional relationship to solve for a missing value. So in this one right here, they're really asking what value for x will make these two proportional. You want them to be proportional, and you're finding the value of x that will make them proportional. So, if you remember the means and extremes theorem, well, I think it's a theorem. Yeah, well, the property. You will first this is A, and that's B. This is C, and that's D. Because x is a number, you can represent it as A. So you're solving for A, or x in this case. So multiply A times D. So the property was A times D equals B times C, right? So A, which is x, times D, which is 5. So 5 times x equals B times C. B, which is 10, times C, which is 3. Simplify this. 5x equals 10 times 3, which is 30. Divide both sides by 5, or multiply by 1/5. It's the same thing. X equals 6. Now, we're basically saying that 6 is the number for x that will make these two proportional. Let's check this answer to make sure it's right. So, a line here. Put in 6 for x. So, 6, so right here, putting in for x, 6 over 10. Is it equal to 3 over 5? The question mark over the equal sign is like saying, is it equal? So let's reduce the 6 over 10. Or you can do multiplying these out. I'm going to reduce it because in this case reducing it is easier instead of using the means extreme theorem. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5, which does equal 5 over 5. So we did get the right answer here. So note that you won't really get an answer that will be like, oh, this is not proportional. You're making it proportional. So if you find in the end that this wasn't equal to each other, like if you got 5 over 6 equals 3 over 5 or something, then you did something wrong. Not because it wasn't proportional, because you're finding the x value that will make it proportional. Now, for this one, it looks a bit hard. Remember that this can be put in parentheses because it's really being multiplied by 1. It's easier to think of it as in parentheses because you're going to be moving the whole thing over, not just the x or not just the -2. So let's use the theorem. So A times D equals B times C. X minus 2 is A. 14 is B. 2 is C. 7 is D. So A times D, x minus 2, which is A, times D, times 7, equals B, which is 14, times C, which is 2. Now, let's simplify this out. 7 gets distributed to the x and the minus 2. So 7x minus 14 equals 14 times 2, which is 28. Add 14 to both sides. Whoops, there we go. You get 7x equals 28 plus 14. So 28 plus 10 is 38 plus 4, which is 42. Divide both sides by 7, or multiply by 1 over 7. X equals 6. Oh, look at that. We got the same answer as that one. Well, let's check it. If you think that's weird, getting the same answer, well, you can check it. So 6 into x minus 2. So 6 minus 2 over 14 equals 2 over 7. 6 minus 2 is 4. So 4 over 14 equals 2 over 7. Divide the 4 and the 14 both by, divide them both by 2. Kind of hard to see, but you get 2 over 7 when you reduce the 4 over 14, basically is what I'm doing. You're reducing. And you get 2 over 7 equals 2 over 7. And that, in fact, then we got the right answer. Okay. I'm going to actually erase this check here so we just have a bit more space on this next problem here. Okay, here this one looks a bit more complicated, but really it's just following the same thing. You just have, remember to put the parentheses so you don't confuse yourself and not multiply just a 2 or just a 6v or just a 7 or just a 4v. You're multiplying all of it. So, write down the relationship again. It's useful to do it just in case you don't make a silly mistake. A times D equals B times C. A is 4v plus 7. B is 15. C is 6v plus 2. D is 10. Alright, so according to this formula, or relationship, you can say, A times D, so A, 4v plus 7, times D, times 10, which is D, equals B times C, 15, which is B, times C, 6v plus 2. Oh, by the way, you can now see why having the parentheses was useful, because if we didn't have them, then you might make a silly mistake and multiply the 15 times the 6v and ignoring the 2, while it's really supposed to be multiplied by all of it. Alright, so really you're just solving an equation with the variables on both sides. So in this one, distribute the 10 to both of them, so 40v plus 70 equals 15 times 6. I admit I do not know right now what 15 times 6 is. We can use a calculator, but it's 90. There we go. So 90v plus 30. And now you just solve the equation. So we want v on the same side. So subtract 40v from both sides. So subtract 40v, subtract 40v. So 70 equals 90v minus 40v, which is 50v plus 30. Subtract 30 from both sides, we can get v by itself. This will get us, here, let's move it up here. This will get us 70 minus 30, which is 40. See this one right here, 40, equals 50v. And now we can just divide by 50. V equals 40 over 50, which is then equal to 4 over 5. And you can go back and check this answer by just plugging it in into both v's.